Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever in the world you are. I am in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I am a South African citizen, and this is why I want to talk about this topic today. Now, the Afrikaner race, which is a South African white minority race, has been featuring in the news. I'm not going to get into that. I have other videos where I'm talking about that. Here, I just want to talk about the Afrikaner race and what they want. So, basically, what they want is they want self-determination and they want an autonomous town. So let me just give you a little bit of information concerning the Afrikaners and where their autonomous town is. So our government was kind enough to understand that they want self-determination, and so they have a whole town. They bought the land themselves and then they built this town. So let me tell you what Orania is about. You can also go look on Wikipedia. So Orania is a white separatist South African town founded by Afrikaners. Okay, it is located along the Orange River in the Coloureds region of the Northern Cape province. Okay, so that's just where it is. There's more to it, but you can read about that. Okay, so it is in the province of the Northern Cape. It's a total of 3.46 square miles or 8.95 cubic kilometers. Okay, I think that's how you say it. So what is the racial makeup there? First of all, what is the population? So the total population is, this was in 2023, is 2,874. And then the racial makeup in 2011 was white, 97.2%, colored, 1.9%, black, 0.9%. So basically it's a white town, okay? And the spoken language there, the first language is Afrikaans, which is also the only language, and 98.4% people speak it. So now I want to go to the ideology and purpose of this town that the Afrikaners founded. So the stated goal of Orania's founders was the preservation of Afrikaner cultural heritage and self-werksaamheid, which means self-reliance. All jobs from management to manual labor are done by Afrikaners. Non-Afrikaner people are not allowed to live or work here. In other words, non-whites are not allowed. Only whites only. So it's a whites only town. Okay? The town's monoculturalism and mono-ethnic philosophy rejects the concept of baaskap. Baaskap means like the boss, like being the boss. So they reject this concept of being the boss, where the white minority exploited black labor for economic gain in favor of a model of strict Afrikaner self-sufficiency. So this is not a bad thing, because before, during the Apartheid, the white people were always the boss and all the black people were just the labor. But now these white people, the Afrikaners, they will be the boss and they will be the laborers. Okay, so this is their concept. But this makes sense because it's a whites-only town. Critics accuse the town authorities of rejecting the Rainbow Nation concept and trying to recreate apartheid-era South Africa within a white ethno-state. I'm a critic because I agree that if we're supposed to be a Rainbow Nation, we have to mingle. We cannot be separating and segregating ourselves, because that is what we did during the Apartheid. We were all in our own little corners. By law, we were put into different corners. Okay? Residents argue that they wish to preserve their own, so these are residents of Orania. Residents argue that they wish to preserve their own Afrikaner cultural heritage and protect themselves from crime in South Africa. Okay, that's fair. That's a fair statement. I mean, everybody would like to preserve their own Afrikaner culture, their own heritage, and everyone wants to be protected from crime because they feel that they are being persecuted because of their race. So, I mean, that's fair. They also reject the white label as meaningless. Okay, I agree in a way because, you know, those people that say, I don't see color, so white means nothing. No, white, that's their race. Like black is a race, you know, especially in South Africa. We know there's black race, there's white race, there's colored, there's Indian, there's Chinese, we know. So I get where they're going with that. Okay, but now what is the history? This is where it gets interesting. The Orania region, so this land that they have, has been inhabited since about 30,000 years ago. This is for those people who believe in evolution. When Stone Age hunter-gatherers lived a nomadic lifestyle there. A number of late Stone Age engravings indicate the presence of the San people, who remain the main cultural group until the second half of the 1700s with the arrival of European hunters, trackers, and the Griqua people. So there it states very clearly that the San people were there way before the Afrikaners came to the land. And I'm of San heritage, so my ancestors were there long time ago. And my ancestors remained the main cultural group until the second half of the 1700s. Yes, because what happened then was, as we know from history, that the whites started marrying or having children with my ancestors, and that is why I am here now today. Okay? Right. So the earliest indication of the presence of Afrikaner people in Orania dates to 1762. Hello. Not 30,000 years ago, 1762. In the early 19th century, many farmers moved seasonally back and forth across the Orange River in search of better grazing. See? An 1842 raw stone map shows the Vletjieskraal farm on which Orania would later be built. So Orania is built on this farm. The first known inhabitant of what is today Orania was Stephanus Occurrence Vermeulen, who purchased the farm in 1882. Okay, so basically the land was not theirs to begin with, but they purchased it. Okay, this Stephanus Occurrence Vermeulen purchased the farm in 1882. So who did he purchase the farm from? He purchased it from the government, who was a white government, who in 1882 was the Dutch government, I think. Yes, was still the Dutch. It could have been the British, I don't know, can't remember. Anyway. But he did not purchase it from my ancestors, who the land actually belonged to. So already there, that's where all the issues start. Okay? And for those who are wondering, how can she pronounce the Afrikaner word so well? It's because I speak Afrikaans. Afrikaans is my mother tongue. Because my father is Afrikaner. But does that make me Afrikaner? As far as the Afrikaners are concerned, it does not. It makes me colored because I am also mixed with San, which is quite fine with me because that means I am indigenous. Okay? So, to continue. Now, let me show you what happened after President Donald Trump said that he will give refugee status to these Afrikaners because their land is going to be taken away from them. Their land, note well, their land. You know, that land that was my ancestors' land since 30,000 years ago, and then they came, and in 18 something they bought it from, not us, but from the other white people. Okay, so this is what they said.
Trump just signed an executive order with two goals. The first, to freeze all financial aid to South Africa. The second, to promote the resettlement of Afrikaners in the United States, to escape the draconian policies of the South African government. The Afrikaners of Orania take note of this development, and we are very thankful, specifically for the urgency with which this was tackled in regards to land expropriation and expropriation of property without compensation. However, our plea can be summarized in 3 words. Help us here. Not necessarily with US tax dollars, but with the recognition of our legitimate pursuit. That is the pursuit of Afrikaner self-determination and an autonomous region. Recognizing us as an ethnic people leads to a conclusion, and that is that the only sustainable option for Afrikaners is an autonomous area. The South African government even signed this as the Afrikaner Accord on Self-Determination in the 1990s, which states that Afrikaner self-determination is a legitimate pursuit. Our highest ambition is not to be resettled or relocated. Our highest ambition is freedom. We ask the White House to recognize this, and we also extend that wish to all other nations. With the grace of God and the help of our friends, this can be made possible. Thank you very much.
Okay, so there you have it. The first word was actually Donald Trump, and then he continued talking. They didn't pick up that one. Okay, but anyway, I mean, when you look at that, he has a point there because, the Afrikaners, they have a point there because this was signed off in 1991, I think he said. Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know why our government allowed that. I really don't know why. And now they want to have an issue with it. They should already have thought about it that time. And of course, after all of that, this is what some Afrikaners had to say about this offer from the US. Interested? What you need to know about Trump's US refugee application? This person said, "No, thank you. The weather is cuck, going nowhere. This is home. Sorry." Yep, that's one thing I like about South Africans, irrespective of what color we are. We know how to make fun of every situation. So you see, we might have a lot of differences and there might be issues and what have you, but we know dis lekker hier by die see, baie lekker. We've got good weather, we've got good food, we've got soul and rhythm, you know. It's lekker hier by die see. But then I guess things change over time. But I'm thinking, if the Afrikaners want self-determination in an autonomous region, what is stopping the Coloureds, but especially the Cape Malays, from wanting the same thing? I mean, they can also want self-determination in an autonomous region because they also have their culture that they would like to preserve. They want to preserve their culture, their lifestyle, their religion, etc. And they are the people who should really be asking this because they had their own region and it was taken away from them quite recently, not even in the 1800s, whatever, but because they had District 6 and that was taken away from them. Just like that, overnight, during the Apartheid. So, I mean, Cape Malays, why can't you do that? I mean, you also have the right, to self-determination in an autonomous region. Because let's face it, Cape Malays and just Coloureds, because remember Cape Malays fall under the coloured category, because under coloured category then there's two categories, these Coloureds, which are the Christians, and you have the Cape Malays, which are Muslims. Because Coloureds form the majority in the Western Cape province. So let me read something for you. So again, I'm getting this information from Wikipedia. You can go and look for it yourself. It's under Western Cape. So the Western Cape, in Afrikaans, it's Wes-Kaap. I cannot say it in Xhosa because I don't speak Xhosa. Okay, is a province of South Africa, situated on the southwestern coast of the country. Okay, it is the fourth largest of the 9 provinces with an area of, very big area, I'm not going to read that, and the third most populous with an estimated 7 million inhabitants in 2020. About 2/3 of these inhabitants live in the metropolitan areas of Cape Town, which is also the provincial capital. The Western Cape was created in 1994 from part of the former Cape Province. The 2 largest cities are Cape Town and George. Okay, so now let's see population. Total population 7 million, about 7 million. Okay, and then population group. So this is where it becomes important. 2022. Coloureds, 42.1%. So that's the majority. And remember, under Coloureds, you also, Cape Malays are Coloureds. Black, 38.8%. So second. White, 16.4%. So that's a minority race. Indian, 1.1%. Languages. So the first language that's spoken there is Afrikaans, which is 41.2%. And that is because Coloureds, which are also Cape Malays, because there's Cape Malay and Coloured, they speak Afrikaans. That is their first language, but they're not Afrikaners, right? But Afrikaans is their first language, so 41.2%. Xhosa, 31.4%. English, 22.0%. Okay? So now when you're looking at that, the demographic there, you can see that Coloureds are the majority. So I'm saying, what is stopping the Coloureds from taking over the province politically? Okay, because at the moment the political party in power, there's the DA, the Democratic Alliance, and they are predominantly a white party with middle to upper class Coloureds and Indians in the as constituents. Okay, it's not the poorer income groups. No. It will be, when it's from the non-whites, it will be Indians and Coloureds who are middle and upper class. It's a very elite party. But what's stopping it from becoming a coloured party? Predominantly coloured party, because I mean, Coloureds are the majority there, right? You guys have to vote properly. Wake up. Okay, the other thing is, since the Afrikaners want their self-determination and in their autonomous region, and which if Trump gets his way, they will get that, what is stopping you Cape Malays from doing the same thing? Because like the Afrikaners, you too can do that, because you are also a race that, you know, you have your own culture, you have your own lifestyle, you have so much history, you are like so different from everybody else in South Africa, you have your own religion. I mean, you could easily set up, not even your autonomous region does not even have to just be like a small town. It could be the entire Western Cape, because you are the majority. Just putting it out there. You could have an entire Cape Malay province, and it could be an Islamic province, since Islam is your religion. The language will be Afrikaans and Arabic, because Afrikaans, because that is your language of ethnicity, and Arabic, because that is your language of religion, and maybe also Bahasa Melayu, which, because most of you are from Indonesia and Malaysia, that's where your ancestors are from, right? I mean, why can't you do that? If the Afrikaners can do what they're doing, right? I mean, I'm just being the devil's advocate here. And then, since it's an Islamic region, I mean, you might as well also implement Sharia law. You could do that. Because it's what is sauce for the goose should be sauce for the gander, right? I mean, I'm sure a lot of South Africans, Muslims, would be quite okay with this. And then you could also, in your province, because you are the majority, you could also then determine what races stay in your province. Like, because the Afrikaner said it has to be a white Afrikaner. Because, I mean, I would consider myself an Afrikaner because my father's an Afrikaner, right? I mean, you look at my surname, the language I speak, my heritage. But they're very specific that it has to be white Afrikaner. So you could also be specific. You have to be Cape Malay, and you have to be, obviously, if you're Cape Malay, you are Muslim, and you have to follow Sharia law. I mean, just putting it up there, I mean, since everything's up for grabs, I mean, you could also approach Trump and, because for sure, if you want to do this, there is no way the government is going to allow this. And then like the Afrikaner, you can also then go and complain to the US about how you're being persecuted and prosecuted and whatever. And then, maybe he might also, do something about it, since he's so into helping minority races, although in this case you'll be a majority in this region. But in the country, Coloureds are also a minority. Let's see in South Africa where Coloureds stand in the demographics. Okay, so let me read about the Cape Malays specifically. Again, Wikipedia. So Cape Malays, Afrikaans is Kaapse Malayers, and Malayers are not Malayers. Also known as Cape Muslims or Malays, are a Muslim community or ethnic group in South Africa. They are the descendants of enslaved and free Muslims from different parts of the world, specifically Indonesia, at that time known as the Dutch East Indies, and other Asian countries. Other Asian countries would be like also Malaya, who lived at the Cape during Dutch and British rule. So, total population, I don't know what year this is, 325,000 regions with significant population. Okay, languages spoken. Afrikaans, South African English. Okay, and historically you also spoke Malay, Makassaris, Dutch, Arabic, and Afrikaans. Arabic, of course, because you are Muslims. Okay, now, although early members of the community were from the Dutch colonies of Southeast Asia, by the 1800s the term Malay encompassed all practicing Muslims at the Cape, regardless of origins. Now, I always talk about this because this is, the people who were in control of South Africa during those times, the Dutch, they were a little bit stupid. And what they did was anyone who was Muslim, they just classed you as Malay. So if you were an Indian or Persian from the Ottoman Empire, where you could be from anywhere in the world, but Arabic, the minute you say you are Muslim, they would put you as Malay, which of course, as we know, is extremely stupid. Okay, but it says there, the term Malay encompassed all practicing Muslims at the Cape regardless of origin. That's why you'll see someone will say, oh, they'll tell me, you live in Malaysia. I'm also My ancestors are from Malaysia, and then I mean, dude, you are not Malaysian. Your ancestors are not Malaysian. Your ancestors are probably Persian because you are very fair and your nose can slice bread. Malaysians are not fair and they don't have straight noses. Sorry, I know some people are going to be offended, but it's not my fault that your nose is not straight. I mean, Ladala. Okay, anyway, so yeah. But of course, that, as I was saying, is the fault of the stupid Dutch people at that time who didn't understand how ethnicity works, okay? So Malays are concentrated in the Cape Town area. The community played an important role in the history of Islam in South Africa, and its culinary culture is an integral part of South African cuisine. Malays helps to develop Afrikaans as a written language. Hello, Afrikaners, hello, take note. Malays helped to develop Afrikaans as a written language, initially using an Arabic script. And how I know that is because I know there's a lot of Malay words and Afrikaans words that are the same. Pisang, same thing, okay? Right, so there's the history here. You can go through that. Cultural identity. So they too have a cultural identity, okay? The Cape Malays, also known as Cape Muslims or simply Malays, are a Muslim community or ethnic group in South Africa. The Cape Malay identity can be considered the product of a set of histories and communities as much as it is a definition of an ethnic group. So, like I say, if the Afrikaners can claim self-determination in an autonomous region, the Cape Malays can do so as well. And the Cape Malays have more right because they are also indigenous, because they are a mix. Well, most of them, not all, but most of them are a mix of Khoi or San, which is the Hottentot or the Bushman, and Muslims from Malaya, Indonesia, Persia, or the Ottoman Empire countries, okay? They from the Arab countries, the Middle East, a mixture. But the Khoi and the San, well, if it's Cape Province, it's mainly Khoi. It will be in their blood. They too can do this, so I don't know why they're not doing it. Maybe they're waiting. But, oh my cat, in saying that, let me read you something else. So this I got from Twitter, and this seems to be a discussion between two people about AfriForum. AfriForum is this group that complained to, this group of Afrikaners that complained to Donald Trump about the situation in South Africa. But in this message, you will see that there is a reveal, that there is a talk about Cape independence. Now this Sean Falshank, now I don't know, he sounds like he's a white person, but he could be a colored. But let's read what he said. He says, I fully agree with you, Jason. I would never detract from the exceptional work by AfriForum and other lobby groups and bodies fighting for our cause. Oh, he says our cause, so he must be an Afrikaner. Including the work done by people like Phil Craig too, I need to look up who he is, towards Cape independence. But they have no right to reject President Trump's offer. Okay, so you see there they're talking about Cape independence because the Cape province, especially the Western Cape province, wants to be an autonomous region. But the people who want this are white South Africans, like the DA from that party. It's not the Cape Malays that I'm talking about that I said they should be asking for this. This is white people that want it. Can you see the arrogance in this? This is a minority group who wants independence without speaking to the majority group about it. which the majority group, which are the Cape Malays, that is how apartheid started. The minority just took over. So you Cape Coloureds and Cape Malays have to wake up. Okay, then someone here said, the response was, AfriForum and FOL are using you guys. They are not trying to help you at all. Oh wait, now I'm confused. If he's saying this, then maybe this is a coloured guy, the first guy, the FOL Sheng Shon. Okay? If anyone is on your side, it's us black people. Should FOL ever get Cape independence, the Israelis and Brits will take Western Cape, and life will be hard for you, the locals. Save the street. So you see, there is already talk. I think, now that I'm reading it, it's the first guy I think is coloured. And there's already talk about Cape independence. Okay, so you see what the Afrikaners are doing with their self-determination and in an autonomous region is they're causing problems in the country, which is problems of separation and segregation, which I thought we have already overcome. Okay, we overcame this during the fight against apartheid. But now it seems everybody wants to go back to that. Well, not everybody, the Afrikaners want to do it. And we know the DA wanted Cape independence for I don't know how long. And I know there are a lot of non-white people who are, yes, Cape Town should be independent. Yeah, but don't you see that the people who want the independence are the minority, which means you will again be controlled by the minority. And people who always think Cape Town is this example of what South Africa should look like, it's because you are only walking around Greenpoint and Sea Point and Constantia and that area. You're not going to the Cape Flats and to Guguletu and Khayelitsha. You're not going there, where you're seeing how the others are living, the ones that they hide away from the tourists. That's why every friend I have who comes to Cape Town, I make sure they go to those townships to see the real Cape Town. And then they are in shock because they didn't know. Because, when they come, they're only there on the Cape waterfront. They think that is Cape Town. I have South African expatriates here living in Malaysia who have they live in Cape Town. They've never been to the Cape Flats, Khayelitsha, or Guguletu. Never. Lived in South Africa for 60 years, never been there. Because that's just how things work in South Africa. Yeah, anyway. So I just wanted to bring this to the notice of you guys, because I think a lot of you don't even know this is going on, because I know politics is not for everybody. But politics should be for everybody. If you are a citizen of a country, you must care about what is happening. And I'm just so fortunate and thankful for the apartheid, because during the apartheid, no one could say, I'm not interested in politics. Just the fact that you were non-white, you were the politics. Your existence alone meant that you are politics. So, I've been in politics since the day I was self-aware. From the day I realized that I am alive. Okay, so anyway, let's just hope the best for South Africa. But I think we'll be okay. Everyone just nyak. It's all big talk now. But at the end of the day, life will go on. So ich wense, vastbyt, Minda, né? We are all South Africans. We are all in the same boat. We all want to have a good life. We all want to holla. We all want to have a lekker time. But then we must also know what is good for the country. It's not necessarily about what is good for just you or your people or your beliefs. We have to think of the country as a whole. Okay, so peace and have a good life.